Right, we're looking at the enrichment questions in exercise 2C. So, what we're doing on this one, we're looking at income tax, and we're trying to find the value of A and B. So to find the value of A, what we're going to do is we're going to do just a quick calculation. We're going to go 20,000, 50,000 take away 20,000 gives us 30,000. So $30,000 that we're paying 20% on times 0.2. So 10% of 30,000 is 3,000. So we've got two lots of 10%, which is 6,000. So A here equals 6,000. To work out our next one, we're going to have to work out what 30% is of the 50,000 in between these two. So I've got 50,000 times 0.3. So 10% of 50,000 is $5,000. So 30% of it is going to be $15,000. But we've already paid our income tax on our first 50,000, which was 6,000. So we add the two together, and we get 21,000. So our B is 21,000, and our A was 6,000. Find the income tax payable on these amounts. Well, for the first one, we've got $15,000 above the $20,000 mark, and in that tax bracket, we're actually paying 20%, which is 0.2 as a decimal. Type it in the calculator, you'll find that you should get $3,000. 72,000, we're actually going to have to pay the $6,000 that A was, plus we got an extra $22,000 over our $50,000 mark. If we go back and have a look at the table, too much scribble on it, Mr. Viger. We've got 22,000, and we have to pay 0.3% of all that. So 10% of 22,000 would be 2,200. Times it by 3, we get $6,600. Add the two together, and we end up with $12,600. Now, our poor people that are earning up around the $160,000 mark, they're going to have to pay our value for B, which was 21,000. So 21,000 plus on that 60,000 that's over 100,000, 60,000. Oops, another 0 times 0.5, because they have to pay the government half. So we got 21, and 60 times 0.5 should give us 30. So they're going to end up paying $51,000 tax. Find an expression on the tax payable for an income if it is between 0 and 20. Well, if we go back to our table, 0 to 20, they pay 0 tax. So easiest way to do this one, tax payable equals 0 times X. Going back to our table again, we now see they're paying 20%. So if their income is between 20 and 50, the tax they pay is going to be $0 plus 0.2 for every... I'm going to run out of room again. Let's try again. They're going to pay tax of $0 plus 0.2, lots of X, but we've got to take away the amount that the 20,000 that they don't get taxed on, minus the 20,000 that puts them into that bracket. Now we could simplify that down and say 0.2x minus 4,000, but we're not going to muck around with that. We're just going to leave it as is today. For the next one, the tax they're going to pay is they have to pay, I think it was 6,000 for A. Yep, 6,000 for A. 6,000 to start off with. Plus they have to pay 30% on every dollar that's above 50,000. And if it's over 100,000, the tax they're going to have to pay is equal to our value for B, which was 21,000, plus 0.5 lots of X minus 100,000. Once again, haven't left myself enough room. Oh dear. Anyway, so that's how we answer the first three parts of this. So if we would have a look at D, D says check what you've explained, fully expanded and simplified your expressions in part C. So we haven't done that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write them up and then we'll Righto, so having done that, we need to now simplify it. So what I did, I'm going to run through it just briefly. What I've done is I've gone through and I've multiplied 0.2 by x and 0.2 times 20,000. Showed you my working out and end up with my fully simplified expression, which works quite nicely for the first one. For the second one, what I did exactly the same process. 0.3 times that, 0.3 times that, showed you my working out, and we're left with our final simplified, fully simplified expression. Last one, exactly the same process. Expand, gather up like terms, simplify it fully. Now the last part, choosing your expressions from check part D for a particular amount, so when we chuck them through, they get exactly the same answer, which is really nice. All the best, have a good day.